Yeah, so we are saying that the Saturdays have a specific topic, which is the unification of Africa. And the unification of Africa also goes with its total liberation and development. And so when we meet on Saturdays, that is what we are looking at. For us, the fundamental question on Saturdays is Africa united? Is Africa developed? Is Africa liberated? In other words, have we attained the goal? And the answer is no. Okay. If Africa is not united, liberated, and developed, how far are we from that? What progress has been made towards that? So those are for us what we look at on Saturdays, which means that we look at economics, which is neocolonialism. Then we look at politics, which is continental government. And then we look at philosophy, which we don't do on Saturdays. We do that on Thursdays. So our Saturdays was inspired by one of our sisters in terms of the fact that sometimes we assume that just because we are passionate about African unification, therefore the conversation is happening. And it turns out that actually, if you look at the election in Ghana, which took place last week, last week and the week before, so it's been an electoral 2 weeks in Ghana, and you realize that. But remember, there was the one in Namibia where we've had a woman elected. You realize that. You ask your question: to what extent are ordinary Africans talking about Africa's liberation, unification, and development? Now, we here will all agree that if you live in a prison and you change the officers because maybe they are stealing the food of the prisoners, or because they are maltreating the prisoners, or because they are not following agreed protocols, or because the governor is nowhere to be seen, or the governor is on holiday and doesn't care about what is happening in the prison, or a plantation, whatever it is, you will agree with me that if you just change the officers, the prison officers, I mean, from those on the cold face or on the ground in the prison, all the way to the governor or the government, if you change those, it doesn't mean that you've stopped being a prison. You're still in prison. You see, you're still in prison. And neocolonialism, has turned Africa into a big plantation. With quarters. There's a Kenyan quarters, there's a Ghanaian quarter, there's a Burkina Faso quarter, there are the French quarters, there are the English quarters, there are the Portuguese quarters, and so on and so forth. So where we have a continental prison with quarters for all kinds of groups, and when you look at the Ghana election, no one, well, far as I can see, in all the conversations I've listened to, I haven't heard any conversations around African unification or development or liberation. I haven't heard anything. Well, what I hear is the fact that the government was changed because of jealousy, because some people were jealous that development didn't come to their region, or some people felt that the government was arrogant. I mean, of course, those are important, but those are not our problems. Continentally, if you look at it, whether the prison governors are arrogant or only take food to one section of the prison and so on, that is not the main problem. The main problem is that you are in a prison which you need to come out of. That is the main problem. And Africans, and as Africa, I think we are oblivious to that. And we, progressive Pan-Africanists here and in other places, because we are not the only grouping, there is a borderless Africa, and so Africa Rising, who are also, interested in these questions. and what we are saying is that the problem is a prison. We need to get rid of the prison. But then how do you get rid of a prison? The people don't know they live in a prison. If the consciousness that we live in a prison is not there, then how are we going to change it? And you can't change it unless the people, the African people, rise, because they are the ultimate holders of power. You understand? So when the Africans rise, nobody can stop them. When Africans rise, I'm talking about the nations of Africa, the nationalities of Africa. When the Luo people or the Kikuyu people or the Ewe people or the Yoruba people, Igbo people, as a nation, across the continent, if we rise and we say this is what we want, nobody can stop us. The problem is that they are not rising. They're not rising because of lack of consciousness. And the leaders, do we have leaders or misleaders? Someone said they are all. In fact, I think they are asleep, if you ask me. They are snoring very, very, very hard. They are all fast asleep. Someone like Akufo-Addo in Ghana, I don't think the guy has been in office for 8 years. What did he really do to take Africans out of this prison? Not very much. If you look across the whole, even all the way to Morocco, the king of Morocco, what is he really doing to free Africa from this prison? Not much. You understand? So the African leaders appear to be just asleep. And they have Agenda 2063. What are they really doing? What are they really doing? So there's a lot to be done. So when we meet on Saturday like this, we are asking these fundamental questions. And then we are asking, well, what can we do? But then nobody should be saying that, well, what are we doing in terms of action? Well, what we are doing is what we are doing here. We are talking. Thinking is very difficult. It's hard work. In my language, thinking is akin to farming. The words we use to say I am thinking is the same words we use for I am farming, because farming is very hard. And for us, that is what thinking is. Thinking is also hard work. People don't like to think. We realize that. People don't like to think. People don't like to think. And when you think and think and think, then you are moving into meditation, where you are thinking deeply about something for a very long time in order to get enlightenment. It's not easy. When you're hungry, how are you going to be thinking when you're hungry? How are you going to be thinking when your family is not fed? You are thinking of how your family is going to be fed. When your children can't get clean drinking water. When your daughters have to wake up and walk miles to get drinking water. When your son is sick and he has to go to the hospital. When you're thinking of your child's school fees and so on and so forth. How are you going to be thinking? I think it'd be more like you are worrying. I think worrying would be the correct term. You are thinking, but that thinking is worrying, because worrying is a form of thinking. But that's the kind of thinking that will transform the situation. So thinking is hard. And so we are where we are. So on Saturdays like this, we meet and we chat about these things. And what we are doing here is important, because not only are we here, there are now about 9 of us here. Not only are we having a conversation, but Brother Pigeon, we thank the ancestors for his joining us, has just enabled us to do so much that we couldn't do before. So as you know, he leads our YouTube work, makes sure that our videos are on YouTube and that then others can watch it and so on. And if you are here and you haven't yet subscribed to our videos, please do, and tell others to subscribe. Because in the last year alone, if you imagine that we are uploading at least 3 videos every week, that is 3 times 52 weeks. That's a lot of videos. So we don't like videos. Anyway, welcome those of you who have joined us. Our own Brother Pigeon, who opened the meeting. Then we have, I believe it's Sister Valerie, if I'm right. It's Valerie's phone. Sister Valerie, welcome. Hisachi Zomo, Malawi, welcome. Brother Ndlovu, Tanzania, welcome. And then there is author Chio Martin. Not sure who he or she is, but I'm sure Brother PG will let us know who he is.
No, is
Then
the
we
Shiro is
I'm
the
just
author of this magazine.
yeah, go on. You are saying
Shiro is the author of this magazine, or the editor.
wonderful. Well, so
Yeah.
let me give him a special welcome, and you also give him a special welcome after I've introduced everyone. So then we have our own brother Che, and Che.
Bakome, we are missing you. We can't
Yeah,
hear
sorry,
you.
I'm back. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Then we have my internet went off. I'm being attacked. So I get attacked sometimes. They don't like me. You see, they don't like what we are doing. Then we have our own brother Che, who, as you know, is involved with the Schiller Institute or the Schiller Institute in Germany. One of the, I would say, progressive institutes in Germany. Brother Che is involved with them. He's with us. He comes from what's his name? The country. He's done a representative for us on his country, and we are yet to also move things forward. So welcome, brother Che. It's Cameroon. Yeah, Cameroon. As you know, Cameroon is under strong French control. There's a French Cameroon and English Cameroon. They don't agree. There are still murders and all kinds of human rights violations in Cameroon. I know we realize that Cameroonians are related to Nigerians because of it's just the border that has kind of divided them. In the same way as those in Eastern Togo are part of us in Western Ghana. We are the same people. I mean, yeah, these borders are just a nuisance. And so Borderless Africa are doing a lot about that. Then we have our own brother Carrington. Welcome, who is our physicist when we meet for our Saturday classes. Our brother Diking Mauli, who is also from my nationality. Always proud to have him with us. Then we have our brother Sam from Azania, just like Brother Ndlovu, who is also with us. We have Sister Shaza, who is also joining us from diaspora, where I also am. And so we have a variety of brothers and sisters here. So welcome, brothers and sisters. It's a conversation. And we have the author of this magazine we are seeing in front of us. And so I'm sure he's ready to share with us. And Brother Pigeon, can you lead and
Thank you. Thank you very much, Brother Kwame. Once again, thank you very much, comrades, who have joined us today. Yeah. And I do appreciate.
Sorry, Brother Pigeon. Sorry, I was cut off again. They don't like me very much. Anyway, so Brother Pigeon, introduce our editor, and then you can carry on. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, comrades, and it's a pleasure to have you with us. Thank you for continuing coming here so that you can have a conversation. They used to say to our elders that when there was a problem, people could sit down and dialogue. And they say dialogue is the mother of all reconciliations. Sometimes when a family has a problem, they will be called to sit down and talk. So out of us coming to gather together here and we talk, create solution. Solutions are not created without a talk, without a conversation, without people sitting together. So we are honored and actually humbled to always have people who hit our call and come and sit down with us to talk. Today, actually, I'm also honored to have my friend and one of the author or the editor of Shuja's magazine, who will be with us here, but permit me to introduce him based on his credential here. If you see the writer's profile, Shiro Martin is the founder of this magazine. He's a holder of BSc, Public Administration and Leadership. Apart from his expertise in Pan-Africanism, social justice, writing, editing, and tutoring, he is also a Google certified digital marketer and a professional graphics designer. He has published a couple of books and online courses. His major books are The Africa in Me, United States of Africa, and Swahili fiction book, Fahari ya Kuwa Mwafrika, which are all available on Amazon, Coffee, and other mainstream digital bookstores. Brother Shiro, we have actually had conversations sometimes in the past, and it was just not a planned thing as per se, But I told him that I think many of the work is on editorial work, and the magazine has been a challenge of Africa, because we need Africa information be reported on our own terms. We need Africa story in African way, not stories of Africa in other way. And issues of publication and magazines have been an issue in the continent. But I appreciate my brother for having put a team and ideas behind reporting African news by African editors for a period of time. And today I'm pleased actually to have him here, and we are all actually pleased to have him here so that he can share with us the editorial as he's looking back to the year, this year in the African continent, in terms of news he has been coming across, or he has been reporting, and where is Africa moving in terms to our objectives of our class towards our unification, liberation and development. Where does it sit and how does it seize this? And also to tell us a bit on what was this coverage in this last editorial coverage of the year, and probably what other ideas he has or challenges, or how we can work together or move together as a people, because I believe the year 2025 is the year for a synergy of Pan-African movement so that we can speedily achieve the Pan-African goal. We had a Pan-African Movement Synergy Conference that we held here like around 2 weeks ago, where we have an idea that African movement and African or Pan-Africans must start working together, connecting and actually bringing their expertise together, their strengths and weaknesses, so that they can support each other in order to speedily attain the African unification, development, and liberation. So, Brother Shira, I know it was not that much organized or planned thing, but we are pleased to have you here with us, and we would like to give you an opportunity to also share with us actually what you have to say in regards to this topic of Africa unification, liberation, and development. So, it's a pleasure to have you, and permit me to welcome you officially to our forum. Brother Kwame, who has spoken, is the chair of our class. I am the coordinator of this activity on Pan-African Consciousness Study Group. We have a Consciousness Research Group. We have our Pan-African CSG or Consciousness Library. We have uploaded actually close to 300 books in the last 2 weeks. Pan-African books or progressive books in our library, available in soft copy. And we also have this class, and we have so many activities also we pursue as CSG. Beyond this class alone, there are so many activities that I run. I also run a Swahili class on Tuesdays, and there's a main philosophy class that takes place every Thursday. So we are not only having one conversation, we are doing so many things in so many fronts, and we are happy to have you all converse with us, and we look forward on how we can work together and synergize. In fact, this platform is a representation of synergy. We come from various organizational movements, and we sit together to converse about the future of our continent. So thank you very much once again. Brother Kwame?
Yeah, that's it. Let brother present to us. So he's presenting for us the news as they see it over the year. Is that correct?
Yes, how they see it over this 1 year and over a period of time of their reporting.
Yes, and then hopefully, based on the brother's presentation, we can make a decision as coordinators whether I think we should kind of subscribe to the magazine and support the magazine. Because if our brothers are working so hard as journalists, or, and putting together a magazine of this type with such high quality images, I think it's right that we support them. So that's a decision I think we should make after the presentation.
Thank you.
So we welcome our brother. Thank you.
All right. I hope I'm audible. Is it right?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you. It's my pleasure, and I'm honored to be in this platform. Yeah, thank you, Pedro, for welcoming me. Yeah. I'm not a person who talks much. I write a lot, so I'll try, but I'll answer the questions that have been asked here. First of all, to introduce myself, I've been introduced. My introduction has been it's exactly as it has been read. I'm Chiro Martin. I hail from Kenya. I'm a Kenyan youth. I'm a writer, a Pan-Africanist, an advocate of social justice. Yeah, and founder of the African Shujaa. I'm the founder and CEO of the African Shujaa magazine. And to say, this magazine, this is our 13th issue. We have been producing this magazine since last year, August. So this is our 13th issue, and we have a website. If I can type here, the link to our website. We have our website that all other magazines can be accessed. Let me type the link. Yeah, all our other 12 issues can be accessed in the website, and a lot of other articles can also be read from the website. So
Sorry. Hold on, brother Chiro, hold on. So brother Pigeon, make brother Chiro co-host so that he can share anything he wants. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, continue, brother.
Okay, we'll see. But he has shared the magazine, and that is what that I'll use for the basis of my conversation here. Yeah, but putting me, of course, there's no problem. So first of all, before I forget answering the question that our chair has spoken here, I joined late, but I've heard the conversation that you are saying that our politicians are failing us. Our politicians are failing us. One of the things that I like to say and to note from the question that you have asked me, yeah, from what I've learned throughout the year with the magazine, is that the people are waking up. Even though our political class is still asleep, but the people are waking up. The local, I mean, the typical African, the average African, the local people are waking up. It's just our political leaders, and even our political leaders know. I don't know what is blocking them. Maybe from the discussion here, I will hear from you, other experts, what is blocking our politicians from implementing Agenda 2063 and everything that has been discussed in the African Union settings. These people know that unity is what will unity is what will uplift Africa. They know that Africa needs to be developed. They know that corruption is bad. They know that everything they're doing, they know that we need to unite. We need to work for African development. But what's blocking them, we'll hear from the discussion. But what I would like to note is that the people are waking up. As we have seen, there are many voices in the magazine. I'm a representative of a lot of people, a lot of writers in the magazine. We are almost yeah, and these are the ones that are here. It's not everyone that sent in the article for the India issue. There are others that you can read the articles from their website, and also we have our groups, our WhatsApp group. Maybe I'll share the link later. Our community where you can interact with the other writers. So everyone is talking about Africa. Everyone is talking about Africa unification. Everyone is talking. Even you can hear from the Africans themselves, the citizens, the Africans themselves, asking for. There was a time people were demanding for a common currency. Some people who are not even in leadership position, just the average Africans asking for. I mean, we break the barriers. We have a common currency. We have a common army. We defend ourselves and so on. So the conversation is already with the people. What I would like just to say is that we should increase our advocacy. We should be shouting it loud that we need, so that the politician or the political class can hear us and implement what we need. Because from what I know is that the movement is for the people. I mean, it's the people that governance, we are governing, the leaders are governing the people, and the people that decide. I mean, the people that make their voice heard. They decide, they make the laws. What should be, is the pressure that will put the political class. That's when they will change, or they will implement what we want. So we should just continue these voices, Pan-Africanism, sessions like this. Those who are in the writing field in magazines, we should just continue writing. Even independence was not earned in just a single decade. It was something that people fought for, maybe more than a decade. That those who are lucky, but the independence was not gotten for in just a few years. People kept fighting until there was victory. So we should just keep writing. Sessions like this, we should keep having sessions like this, and we should not limit the conversation to the elites. I mean, the elites that us, the educated, or us who have had the opportunities to come across Pan-African literature or Pan-African anything about Pan-African. We should go like what they do in Christianity. They teach the congregation now goes in the field, in the local people, and preach the gospel. So this is what we should do. Like when we have a session here, we have discussed about something, we have discussed about African unity, we should all go. If you are you come across someone, you are in a group of people there, you are in a matatu, you are in a I mean, for our ladies, you are in a saloon, you are near your fellow women. Start the conversation of African unity. Start asking them questions about Africa, what they think, what the solution to the challenges they face in individual country, the challenges that they face. You'll be amazed that people know. It's just that they've not gotten the opportunity, or they've got opportunity to sharpen their ideas, or they have not yet known if there are people around them that still that share their ideas with them. So we should not stop this conversation with the elders. So we should continue. We should make sure that the message is spread to almost everyone. Yeah. Then I was asked before I should share what we do with the magazine. Thank you to the chairman that is he has said yeah, we can use your support. Yeah, it's true. Number one support that you can give writers, personally a writer myself, the number one support is reading their work. So I've shared the website. We have the other issue, even though one of the challenges we have been having is research and raising money for doing research. So some of the issues someone has to purchase, but we have some free issues. So you can choose to read the free issue, or you can choose to purchase the other issues that we are selling. The money that is gotten from there is used to help the authors in their research and so on. I'm managing the magazine also, and a lot of administering the magazine and a lot of things. Then, yeah, how you can support. Also, I've been asked to speak about the projects that I'm doing. I've heard that you have a library. I mean, I think it's a digital library. Yeah, we are having with the magazine. We are having in my community. We decided that we should start in my community. I'm having next year, probably before January ends, we are launching a community library. Yeah, supported by some of the authors that are there. They'll be donating books. So if you have books, or the books, and one of the things that I have emphasized with the team is when we are launching that library, you see, most of the things that I've realized while administering the Pan-African magazine, the African Shujaa magazine, is that we have been fed content, European content. I mean, African literature are not accessible to a lot of people. Like books, you see, I started a book drive, and most of the books that I got were the books written by Europeans. I don't know how to describe them, but all of us here know those big books with the hardcover. Yeah, those are very, very much accessible. The content, European culture, just like we see today, we can access from our televisions, from what we can see. Western cultures are easily accessible, but African content is hard to get. So one of the things that has pushed me to start that community library is to have to make sure that local content, African books. On our book drive, we emphasize that we are collecting African content, African literature. So that is what we are emphasizing. The main aim is to make sure that local African content is accessible. African content, books, literature, fiction, non-fiction, research works. Some of the notable books, some of the very notable books in Pan-Africanism, those authored by scholars like Chekanta Diop, Chancellor Williams, Professor Ngugi wa Thiong'o, and a lot of other African authors are the books that I'm targeting to have in our library. Because we'll see in most libraries, as I've told you, most of those African literature are not accessible. So if you can support the team, maybe you are in Kenya, or you can liaise through Pidgin there so that we can get the books. Because I'm situated in Kenya, the library will be in Kenya. I think I've answered all the questions. Maybe if there is any other thing that I've left out, maybe I can be informed.
Okay, thank you, Brother Martin. But there are, of course, speaking to your publication on this publication, what are key issues you've covered in this publication, because I've seen some topical issues. What are key issues you'd like to share with us in terms of news that you've covered in this publication, or maybe key issues that you had covered within this year in regards to the unification, development, or liberation of Africa?
Okay, thank you. The African Shujaa magazine, let me describe it first, is a Pan-African magazine. And from what I know, from what we always discuss with the team, Pan-Africanism is all round. Pan-Africanism can be, one of the things I've been telling people is that Pan-Africanism is not just a political thing. Pan-Africanism is just that is not just a writing thing. Pan-Africanism is not just a history thing. You see, when you talk to people, I'm a Pan-African, they'll ask you, you like history very much, or you like politics very much, but Pan-Africanism is all round. The Pan-Africanism, basically, I would like to explain it is that doing something good, doing the best for Africa, the best for Africa. You can be an engineer, you can be a Pan-African in engineer, you can be a nurse, a Pan-African in nursing. If you're nursing for Africa, let's say nursing for Africa, if you're engineering for Africa, if you're nursing for Africa, if you're doctoring for Africa, what are the other what are the other fields? All those fields, nursing, engineering, teaching, and all those fields. So if you can be an economist for Africa. So I'm sorry if there be a connection issue, I'll get back soon. But yeah, so one of the, we have been having different themes throughout the year, and this theme specifically was about unity in diversity. And we were collecting issues that were addressing unity and in diversity. And one of the things that I would like to note is that Africa is made up of a whole lot of people, different walks, different backgrounds. Just starting with the languages, we have over 2,000 languages in Africa. So how are we going to unite with these people? In fact, one of the things that I noted, people that are not yet to embrace Pan-Africanism, they're always afraid. We have to drop our tribes. We have to drop our names to just embrace Swahili. In fact, people have been afraid in embracing Swahili as a language that will unite us all. So one of the things that this issue was focusing is to tell the people that we don't have to drop our tribes. You don't have to stop being a Yoruba. You don't have to stop being a Mamejikenda. You don't have to stop being a Mejikenda. You don't have to stop being a Luo. You don't have to stop being a Zulu or any of your language. We can just unite in our diversity. In fact, our diversity is our strength. It's not our weakness, or it's not something that we should say it's a stumbling block. I mean, our diversity is our strength. I used in the editorial, I used the example of a hand. Let's say a hand. A hand we have 5 fingers in a hand, and a hand needs all the 5 fingers. When one finger is chopped off, the hand becomes, it's not complete, and it can have challenges in achieving most of the tasks. So all our tribes, all our languages, all our religions, or everything that we hold on to, we don't have to drop them. We don't have to compromise them. We just can unite in all our, just embracing our cultures, embracing our different cultures, embracing our languages. We can unite, and we can use those different cultures to bring something colorful and make something Africa a colorful thing. Yeah. And the previous issue, we've been handling previous issue, like for January. Currently, we are collecting for January. We are collecting. Yeah, that's but there. The January theme is African heroes, past, present, and future. Before we tackled economic development in Africa. We tackled the women empowerment. We tackled health issue. Health issue was our April. We tackled the climate change. Health issue was in our, I think it's June, we handled health in Africa. So as I said, Pan-Africanism is broad, and every field. Just to describe Pan-Africanism, just doing anything for Africa. So it can be in health, it can be in economics, it can be in any other field. I hope that's answered. If there's any other question.
Okay, Brother Kwame, please come in.
Yeah, so brother, thank you very much for your sharing with us background, etc., etc. So from what you by the way, brothers and sisters, this is a conversation, so don't feel that only the chairs and co-chairs are the ones who should be talking. Feel free to come in if you want to say something. Brother Chiro, are you able to share with us your perspective on how the year has evolved? I mean, today's the 21st of December. So we only have one last Saturday, which is next week Saturday, before the year ends for us. What has been noteworthy as far as you are concerned in terms of the continent as a whole that you can share with us? And by the way, what is the meaning of Shuja? Because I don't understand.
Okay.
Yeah, what does it mean?
Thank you for asking me that question. So Shuja is a Swahili word. It's a Swahili word which means hero. And by the way, we have also been so Shuja is a Swahili word which means hero. So basically, you can just translate to the African Hero magazine. So
Okay.
yeah, we are all heroes.
And heroines. Oh, no, don't forget the women, eh?
Heroines. Yeah.
Heroes and heroines. Right. Okay. No, thank you. So So as I was asking, what has stand out over the year as someone leading this magazine and as one of our leading youth? How do you see the year? In what way has it evolved for you, either positively or negatively?
I think the year has evolved positively, and as I have said earlier, what I've noticed, what is something that something significant that I've noticed is that the people are waking up. We started with a few entries, but as time goes by, we have even people from Jamaica that are sending in their articles. I mean, the conversation about Africa, people are embracing the conversation about Africa. As Pitkin has said, to 2025, things might turn out different, very different. We can say that Africa might unite. Some maybe we were less hopeful that it will take long for Africa to unite, but I'm very hopeful it will be soon because this conversation is growing and many people are embracing it. Yeah.
So, as someone publishing a magazine, what is there a website that you think is a must-go-to website? So, as someone from Ghana, we have a website called Ghana Web. And that was like the must-go-to website. If you want to know anything going on in Ghana, you go to that website. And my friend, who used to be a member of the military, even told me that is where the secret services also go to hunt for information on Ghana. All kinds of people go there. So for Africa as a whole, is there a website that is like a go-to website where we can get whatever information we need, as far as you are concerned?
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, I think there's I don't have any specific magazine that I will tell someone to go to. But one thing I will say that as a writer myself, you need to verify information. And if you need information about Africa, you must follow authorities in the field. We have a lot of scholars. We have Professor P.L.O. Lumumba. We have scholars in African history. Don't just follow anyone. I always like as I've said, the movement is growing. But if you need to be correct in your research, or if you want to get the true information, follow authorities in the field. And if you're following influencers or anyone, just verify it with the true sources. The true sources. So you can follow the authorities in the field. Any authority, the authority that you like, that I'll just say that you follow that one. They have information that you are looking. Yeah.
Okay. Now there are 55 African states. So if we have a leading site, a leading website or news site for each country, that means we have 55 of them. 55. We have to go to 55 websites.
Yeah, true.
And that's a lot of work, if you want to be abreast. So we need some kind of mechanism that will bring together to one side key news across the continent. And I know we have some continental websites, but it seems to me that more work needs to be done. And for us, CSG, we want to see. I think what we would like to see is a website where we can go, an authoritative website that ticks all the points you've made, That's where we can all go and find credible news about what is going on in the continent, which at the moment we don't have. It may be that it will be a website with sub-websites, something like that. Or what do you think?
Yeah, true. In fact, one of the things I noted in my book, The African in Me, that was my first book I published in 2022, The African in Me. Yeah, we need something. We have been complaining that Africa is misinterpreted, Africa is portrayed negatively. We have been complaining. But one of the things that I realized is that we cannot, we cannot, it's like I always say we are fighting colonialism with the reverse, they always say racism with the reverse racism. I think we can also use colonialism with the reverse colonialism. We should be independent on our own. If we want Africa to be portrayed to have a positive image, we need our own news channel. We cannot force BBC to report positively about Africa, or VOA to report positively, or Al Jazeera. You have seen the work Al Jazeera is doing in the war in the Middle East. The work Al Jazeera is portraying what is actually happening in Gaza. That's what we need in Africa. But at the moment, I don't think we have that authority. Something that unifies us as a continent here, and it's something that we need to work on and have it.
I think during Nkrumah's time, it's a long time ago now. There was at the time that was novel. This was really the fight for independence in Africa. There was a radio station that could broadcast across the continent. And when Nkrumah was overthrown in 1966, that Pan-African radio station was one of the first things they took down. The CIA took it down.
Yeah.
The CIA is a very strange organization. They just believe in killing people, stealing things, overthrowing governments. It's a criminal organization. Very interesting, and for some reason it is okay, as far as the American Constitution is concerned. It's okay to say you are a leader of the free world, and yet you have an organization that is engaged in global criminality. It's a very interesting organization. But one of the first things the CIA took down was that radio station. I mention this because Al Jazeera is, I might be wrong, but as far as I understand, Al Jazeera is an Arabic or a Muslim originated news media, and they set it up because they felt their voice wasn't being heard. Why is an Al Jazeera version of Africa absent?
We need that. And as before I said, we most of us in the Pan-African field. There's those who everybody is doing their role in Pan-Africanism. We have the advocates like us, the writers, and what we advocate for those changes, those change in policies, those changes in what. So if we want something like this, I think it's our responsibility as advocates of Pan-Africanism to push those, to push the people, to push the strongholds. The leaders in the field of information and media or communication.
Yes.
We need to push people.
But actually, why are they asleep? Because I am not an expert in journalism. I'm not an expert in broadcasting. No, I'm not an expert. My field is mathematics education. That's my field. Now, and why are the leaders in journalism, whether broadcasting, written media, why are they asleep? From your experience.
From my experience, I think one of the things, you see, the world is doing, let's say, business, even writing. It's one of the challenge that I've also been facing. Even writing, we can be having a free magazine like this, but Africans won't read. Most of the people won't read. You see, writing, communication, media is a business. Yeah, and I think doing business, selling Africa, or let's say having an African channel, maybe most of those business people like Dangote can finance. Those people they can. If they come together. The one in South Africa is it Patrick Motsepe or who? They can. if they come together, they can just launch an African channel. But I think business-wise, they don't consider it business-wise.
Yeah. So do you think we should maybe contact them and say, look, guys, you are the experts in the field. You need to lead this. I must add that I'm sure as Africans, I'm speaking for myself, I'm happy to buy shares in such a company. I'm happy to do that. And I'm sure there are Africans upon Africans, both in the diaspora where I am and on the continent, I'm sure. The diaspora, America, Europe and so on. I'm sure there'll be Africans and all kinds of Africans who will be happy to buy shares in such a serious organization that will rival Al Jazeera in order to tell the African story. Anyway, thank you very much. Is there anything else you want to add? And then we'll open the floor for people to just share their thoughts. Yeah.
Currently, I would just like to commend the work that you're doing. It's a good work. And one of the things, just to add on, I think when we preach, there was a time we also had a conversation with my senior, Pitgin. Like, you see, we are many Pan-African organizations currently in Africa. Everyone is doing almost the same thing. So one of the things that I will just advise most of us is that we need to, even if we cannot, like I said, we unite in our diversity. We unite in our diversity. You don't have to drop what you are doing completely. But if we can collaborate and do something big, like let's say you collaborate, the team from this conscious group, the team from the African Shuja magazine, since we are both in the writing field and in research, we can collaborate and do something big. That will bring more impact to the continent. I think that's the way we can be trying and doing that. That would be a good way. That's the thing that I think I can advise or I can add as my comment.
Yeah, no, thank you very much for that. Are you going to stay with us till 8 o'clock, or are you running away?
Let me see. I'll try to stay.
Okay.
You say I did not plan to join this, but since my brother, you see, I was offline, just getting online now. I saw his text, so I could not let him down. That's why I had to drop other things and join. But I'll be with you.
Yeah, thank you. Let me welcome Brother CPWA, one of our leading comrades on the ground. So Brother CPWA is very dear to us, and he's joined us several times. He's interested in action, and we are interested in action as well. Brother CPWA, share with us your thoughts, sir. By the way, we missed you.
Yes, thank you. Yes, it's good to be here. Running several campaigns on every continent. I'm not able to be here regularly for the meetings. So that is my excuse for not participating every week. But whenever I do get a chance and I'm like, oh, wait, I can join the meeting now, like as I did today, I came.
Just so you are excused.
Thank you. Because I have been in meetings all day today, right? Because that's part of the work that we have to do, as Comrade Chiro was saying, right? We have to network, we have to collaborate so that we can take the different pieces and put them together for the big performance or the big production.
Yes, Brother Sifue, it's like you've lost you. Can you proceed?
Yeah.
Yeah, do I have the floor? It's okay.
We lost you for a few seconds.
Okay, and let me see. Let me put this out. Hold on.
It appears we've lost you again.
All right. I just plugged in my headphones. Can you hear me now?
Oh, yes, we can hear you. It's just that we lose you. We lost you for a few seconds. That's all.
Yeah, okay. So I just wanted to make just one comment following up on what Chiro said at the end of his presentation. And I found this to
Brother
be true.
Sipiwe, before you make that comment, are you familiar with Brother Chiro's magazine at all?
Becoming more familiar with it.
Okay.
But I had seen it as the name Shuja, and I said, "Oh," so I was paying attention. Something that he said that I found to be true is that whenever we hear the word Pan-African or Pan-African organization, there seems to be a default expectation that you can come into that Pan-African organization or group or whatever, and it's an open forum to talk about anything and everything relating to African people. And so quite often, a lot of the Pan-African groups, as he said in his presentation, oh, you must be into history. So we love to talk about history, and we go back to, Kwame Nkrumah and Nyerere in the 1960s. And so we have a lot of study groups. Then we have groups that are focused on issues like food sovereignty or the language issue. But generally speaking, I have found that people come into the forums, the WhatsApp group, and they talk about the history, the current events, the specialized issues, and it becomes this open forum. And in most of those groups, there's no
Is it me or we've lost Brother Sipiwe again?
We've lost him again. We've lost him.
We lost him.
Yeah, Brother Sipiwe, we've lost you again. I'm sure he will come back. Brother Pigeon, whilst you're waiting for Brother Sipiwe to join us, maybe you can talk about the. Yeah, Brother Sipiwe, are you back? Are you back with us?
Yeah, I'm here. I never lost you. I think you lost me.
We lost you.
I'm so sorry. I'll try to make this quick. I just wanted to say that I did find one group that had a clear vision and a clear limited objective on how to bring about a united African states through mutualized sovereignty, which is different than a unitary united African states in which there's just one government, one military, one currency, one everything, which may, and this is, I guess, the great debate.
Is it me again or we've lost Brother Sipiwe again?
We lost him.
We lost him again. Okay. Yeah, because I am also attacked.
Yes, I'm sorry. You're losing me.
Well, yeah, you're not alone, Brother Sipiwe. I get attacked myself. I don't think they
Yeah.
like us very much, so they keep interfering with our. Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
please
I've reached out
carry
to
on.
Chiro. I've
Yeah,
reached out to Chiro so that we can communicate.
yeah. You carry on with. You said you found an organization that was very focused.
Yes,
As focused as we are on our Thursdays, where we focus on philosophy and ideology every Thursday for the last, I don't know, 15 years. Yeah, you were saying something about them when we lost you. Please continue.
You have a clear vision. So I had just wanted to once again introduce people, if they haven't already, to the Pan-African Federalist movement. Entirely focused on creating the first Pan-African Federalist Congress, which is a part of a system that transform the sovereignty inherent in each individual human being and deposits that sovereignty into a collective entity African states, and that there's a engineering process about, people talk about the idea of a united African states, the concept of it,
Yeah.
but I
Brother,
didn't find
Brother
any
Sipiwe,
group.
Brother Sipiwe,
Yeah.
I don't want us to lose you again. So, well, I think we'll lose you. But can you put some information in the chat? I would like to think that those of us in CSG have joined the Pan-African Federalist Movement. I'd like to think that. If that is not the case, put the link there again so we can join. Because I agree with you that the PAFM is very clear on what it wants to do. And I think that those of us in CSG and elsewhere who would like to focus on the political unification in the way it's defined, that you've defined it, I think should also join PAFM. So please put links into the chat so that we can. I think I've joined, but if I haven't joined, I would like to join, and anyone else who would like to join, so they can kind of link up with you and go through the formal process for joining. Because I think that PAFM, I think he's a nail on the head in terms of what it is that we want in our Saturday discussions, which is the unification of Africa. So put something in the chat so that everyone can kind of link up. So thank you for that. Is there anything else you want to add? Add it so that, because I know you're having challenges being online, but in terms of speaking, so you need to unmute yourself. Yes, go on. You need to unmute yourself, brother.
Yeah, yes. No, I was just saying thank you for indulging me.
That's okay. We always indulge you, brother. You are part of us, and we are part of you. We like to think. So I think it's fair to say that what Brother Sipiwe is talking about is what our Saturdays are about. So, Brother Sipiwe, I think we'll need to hear more from you on Saturdays. I know you are very busy, but I think on Saturdays you need to come and kind of share the gospel of unification. On Saturdays, even if it's for a few minutes, come and share it, and then you can go on to other meetings, so that we hear from you every Saturday, so that the message goes out there. Thank you very much. Anything else you want to share before you don't say anything? Yeah. But as you anything last comments you want to make? You are muted, by the way. Good. Saying something.
No, I think there's a lag. I think there's a delay. But I look forward to talking to Chiro, especially about, his experience in producing the magazine. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. We are also have been looking at how we can produce a short magazine called The Balance that will report on the unification of Africa. Where are we? How far do we have to go? And we have just a kind of summary view of unification, how far we are from it and what we need to do. Just nothing complicated. It's something we have been interested in. Maybe we can work with you guys at PAFM to do that. Thank you very much, Brother Sipiwe. Brother Carrington, you've had your hand up. Yeah. Brothers and sisters, it's a conversation. Please feel free to join. We are talking about unification of Africa. So please feel free to join the conversation. Yes, Brother Carrington, our own physicist. We love him so much. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you very much, Brother Kwame. Thank you very much, brothers and sisters. Brother Chiro, that was a very enlightening presentation. I am Kenyan like you. Wachane. I'm assuming you're Luo. Brother Pigeon can correct me. I have three things that I'm very interested in. One, I did not know of the magazine completely. So I am aware partially of the continent. I read the continent a bit, which is trying to do articles, Africa-focused articles. So this is a very important addition to the continent, and I think it is a very good initiative, and I see that it is a continental-wide collaboration. So that is very, very wonderful. I'm a writer, or at least I try to write. So I would be very interested in contributing an article or two, depending on space constraints and time constraints on my part. Secondly, I'm also involved in companies, technology companies, that are very interested in innovative African products. So I work for a company called Songhai. And second, I am involved with another company called Vanguard, which is involved in web development, etc. So we could really, really help with giving the website an African feel, a modern African feel, and that will be amazing. We could talk about this. We can agree about how to go forward. And lastly, I'd like to share something small with permission of the chair. Is that okay, Brother Kwame?
Yeah, it's okay, Brother Pigeon. So he will give.
Yeah.
I don't have the rights at the moment, so he can give you. He can make you co-host, and then you can share. Yeah, he has. So carry on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think I'm also okay. I can share. So sorry. Yes. So I'm also involved with a foundation called Kisima Library Project. I heard you talking about community libraries. Last time I was in the country, we donated 300 books to a small town community in Kenya. So and a telescope and electronics equipment. We are trying to sort of inspire young people in high school and late primary to get into science and technology development, especially in small towns, far from the capital city, far from Nairobi, where they can't get access to such equipment. We are planning, of course, we are not wealthy, but we are planning to do this, to roll this out throughout the continent, where we have small towns, villages benefiting from science and technology, just as well as the capital cities, Accra, Johannesburg, Nairobi, etc. So we would be very happy to work with you practically in getting resources, especially science textbooks, science novels, science fiction, African science fiction. We will be very happy to collaborate. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Brother Carrington, do you think, because you're an IT specialist, do you think that, one of the problems with public libraries is ultimately who pays for it and maintaining it? That's always been the problem. So even where individuals have set up libraries and donated them to a community, ultimately the problem becomes how is it maintained and the cost and so on. So from the IT perspective, do you think that a virtual library perhaps is the solution? Because then cost issues don't come in as such. Yeah. Can you share your thoughts with us on that?
Yes, we had a very long discussion about that, and we settled on a two-track approach. We are planning to build a virtual library, but a virtual library, the challenge with a virtual library, of course, is that it is subject to legal attacks if the PDFs are not obtained with the permission of the author and the publication companies. So for that, we need to register our credentials with all these companies and what have you. And in the second analysis, the idea was that, again, it is very useful for young people to just sit down together and read books together and discuss ideas together, and also work on problems physically together. So the electronics equipment, play around with ideas, a physical place where young people can just sit down and think about the problems of their society. So for that reason, we found a way of or we are still trying, we are a very young organization, we're still trying to find a way of balancing the two, where resources are accessible, but also where young people can work together on the problems of their communities. Yes, we think that is also important.
Yeah, excellent.
But there's a challenge
yeah.
of, as you've said, of funding and maintenance. For
Mm,
this case, the local polytechnic, which we were very lucky to have discussions with, offered to host the thing for free because it is also beneficial to them. They
right.
get, yeah. So if we
Mm,
find a school, maybe something like that, that could host a public library, which,
virtual,
yes,
that
yes,
was a virtual library. So
yes,
that could
yes,
be.
yes,
So if that is the case, that means we could have virtual libraries across the entire continent
yeah, yeah.
and hosted by educational institutions.
Yes, yes.
And then someone must lead that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
are you?
Even someone with a rural building,
Mm,
which he or she does not use, and would
yeah,
be happy to give it to us. Now, the
yeah,
problem, we would need to find someone to open the library, etc.
yeah.
And
So
but now
so
these are logistical things that can be
yeah. So
navigated.
are you yourselves leading this, or is this something that you are leading on, as an
So
organization, as an
yes,
individual, to
yes,
see
I
that
am.
it's happening across the continent?
Yes, I am a co-leader, but this was our first sort of pilot project. What
Okay.
we have preferred to do is to find someone who wants to do this thing in their community and then
Okay.
link up with them, support
Yeah.
them, and supply them, because it is them who know the problems and the
Mm,
opportunities
mm,
of their community and what they need. So I
yeah.
was very happy when Brother Chiro said
Yeah.
that working on this. Yeah.
Yeah. No, this is interesting because one of the exciting points about libraries is to have a mobile library.
Yes,
Uh,
that's another
and, and so
possibility.
and so with technology now, we have mobile libraries with interesting dimensions. So no, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, brothers and sisters, we are having a discussion on the unification of Africa, and as we know, information and knowledge key. We've heard from Brother Chiro, who is who leads the Shuja magazine, and Shuja, he has told us, means heroes and heroines. We've heard from Brother Sipiwe on PAFM, the Pan African Federalist Movement, which encapsulates our vision of a united Africa. We've heard from Brother Carrington, who I didn't know, but he's just made it clear to us that he's leading a library project across the entire continent. So yeah, let's hear from this. A conversation. Let's have a conversation. Brother Pigeon, don't forget you had a synergy conference. So what we are discussing here is also about synergy. So please don't forget to chip in and keep us updated on how the synergy conference links with all that we are discussing. Sister Ida has her hand up. I know she doesn't like me to say this, so I wouldn't say it.
Good. I'm glad you're learning. It takes a long time, but we're all in it together. Okay.
Sister Ida, yes, the floor is yours.
My question is really to Brother Carrington, because I love all these skills that he has, and I love this library idea. But I was wondering, seeing he's such a computer expert, has he ever thought of maybe taking up putting new books, being not an author's friend? I don't know what you could call it, but getting new authors to go digital with him, because I think that's computerizing their work would be one way of spreading a digital library, and that he and his compatriots, who are all probably very good with computers, could also manage to do what traditional book companies or book editors would do, but in a different way. So it's just a question to him. It's just a encouragement and a thank you to him for all his hard work on this library. But I think he could go a bit further. Well, I don't. Not that I think you could go a bit further, but I think it would be easy for you to move that step further. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sister Ida. We are thinking, and thank you very much. We are thinking very, very hard about it in the organization and in the company. Yes, it is a possibly even profitable venture. So we are thinking very hard about it. Yes. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. I thank you in advance. Thank
I
you.
must admit, sister, I didn't understand the question very well. So
Oh,
since Brother Kanti has answered it, I think he understood it. So, Brother Kanti, how did you understand Sister Ida's question?
With the rise of technology, and Sister Ida, please feel free to correct me. I might have answered my own question. But with the rise of technology, the cost of basically producing knowledge and storing knowledge has lowered. Yeah, this is what you talked about. So there could be a possibility to basically skip the publishers and talk
that's the
directly
word.
to the authors. Yes, yes. And talk directly to the authors, especially young African authors,
Authors,
and
yeah.
then produce digital content, just like Brother Chiro is doing for magazine, but for books now, textbooks, etc. And then this could be decentralized very quickly and very fast throughout the continent and the world. Yes.
So interesting, Sister Ida. Thank you for that question. Just so you
No,
know,
I have to thank Brother Carrington for understanding what I was saying, because the word publishers was just, I couldn't get that word, but
yeah,
thank you for understanding.
Thank you.
yeah. So on this note, Brother Carrington, I would like to say that I am very interested in the, shall I say, the translation of key mathematical texts into African languages, so our people can read them in our local languages. That is one of the things I'm really interested in. So if you take, for example, a dictionary, let's take a dictionary for primary schools. Yeah, just dictionary for primary schools. I want to see that dictionary for primary schools translated into all the African languages. And as I said, my field is mathematics education. That's my field. So I want to see that. And if that's something that, and see you are clapping for the character, thank you. If that's something that you think we could work on, that would be great.
So I visited the University of Ghana, I think last year. I was able to get an opportunity during a conference to visit the history department, and I was approaching them about building a Swahili dictionary of science and technology. And we got contacts in Namibia, Ghana, and Uganda.
That's
And we
interesting.
applied, but the funding did not go through. But we will definitely try next year. The idea was to try actually use Akan languages, use Ugandan languages, use other languages to refer to specific scientific terms in Swahili, so that the loanwords come from other African languages. But the funding did not go through, but we'll try again. Yeah. So that's a very good.
There is a professor in Nigeria. It's a lady professor. She wrote a book called Runmila. She's passed away now, unfortunately. And she made the point that there's a confusion in the African mind when it comes to English, the English language. And by that, she meant that in the African mind, we have confused English as a language of communication and English as a subject to study in school. And that confusion is very deep. And interestingly, the current vice president-elect of Ghana, Professor Nana J. Nana, has in the past also drawn attention to this, because she is an expert in education. And what they have said is that if you take Luo, for instance, the language Luo, what they are saying is that the Germans, the French, the Russians, the Koreans, all language groups teach their children in their language. They don't teach them in a foreign language. And any foreign language that is desirable, which in England are called modern foreign languages, MFL, Those languages are learned in school like any subject. So you will learn French or Spanish in school like you learn mathematics, my subject or language, yeah? But in Africa, we have confused the language of communication, of communicating in terms of education, with the language of that needs to be learned. And this confusion means that we think that when somebody can speak English, that person is educated. Whereas all they have done is that they are literate in English. That's all it is. Being literate in English doesn't mean you are educated. You know, in England, where I am, all children in England can speak English because that's their mother tongue. Yeah, of course, there are variations in the Queen's English, in London English, in English in Birmingham, English in Scotland, and so on. There are those regional variations of the English language. But almost every child in England is born speaking English in the classroom. Yeah. It doesn't mean that even those children who, because their mother tongue is English, understand English as a subject. You see, even they have to be taught English in school. So the African hasn't really understood the difference between education and literacy. And we are fundamentally confused. And so this professor was saying that there was a project in Nigeria where children were taught in Yoruba. And all the subjects, mathematics, history, geography, name it, including English, was taught in Yoruba. So the child has come to school, and remember, the child has learned Yoruba from since the child was in the womb, all the way to maybe when the child is about, say, 5 or 6 years old. So the child has 6 years of learning Yoruba already before they come to the classroom. And so when they come to the classroom, you're just building on that. And so they taught the children Yoruba. Apparently, those children in the English exam outperformed even schools that were using English as a language communication. and so what she's saying is that, and as I said, the vice president-elect of Ghana has also made the same point, right? So what it means is that we need to understand as Africans that there's a difference in saying that I teach my children using, so I'm an Ewe from Ghana, yeah? That way you may be a Luo from Kenya or Uganda, or you may be a Yoruba from Nigeria and so on. That we need to distinguish this, and this is a problem. Now, whether or not us I know our leaders are asleep. I mean, those guys are asleep. I don't think they'll wake up very soon. You know, I think they'll be in their sleep and die. You know, just die in their sleep and then just move on into the next world without waking up. Just like a driver who is asleep behind the wheel. You know, when the driver is asleep behind the wheel and they are asleep, and then the car gets an accident, you know, they never wake up. Some of them, they just die. They die in their sleep. In the same way they are behind the wheel and sleeping, when the car gets the accident, they just die and they just move on to the next world. That is how some of our leaders, I think they're asleep, they'll never wake up. They'll just die off in their sleep, and then we'll sing for them and have a funeral ceremony for them, and so the youth today, this is something the youth today have to really, and do we have the confidence to begin to change this? And because it means, for instance, that if I'm an Ewe and I'm going to teach mathematics in Ewe, I need to be able to say everything in Ewe, and we don't have those tools. You can't just start teaching mathematics in Ewe. I need to be trained myself as a teacher. I need to know the words, all the words for angle, for sine, for cosine, for all the mathematical terminologies. I need to know them in my language before I can explain that to the children in my language. And those tools are not there. But those tools have to be developed. The point is whether or not our leaders, I said they are asleep, they will never wake up. But the youth Can they begin to look at this matter and see whether or not we can come up with some innovative projects? I think I've said enough. When the professor, as she's passed away now, when she said, she made the point that that project was so successful that it was never continued. It was too successful to continue, because basically it has exposed the anus of the chicken. So when something is so successful, you don't want it to continue because it will rock the apple cart, as they say. Anyway, Brother Carrington, what are your views? I know you've been excited hearing this.
So I think we need to return it to Brother Chiro because he is our guest. But yes, I agree completely. I agree completely with what you said. Education in the local languages should be the policy of all African states. I agree. With one maybe.
Thank you, Brother Chiro. Please chip in. Let's remember that Professor, what's his name in Kenya? The one who wrote "Weep Not Child."
Ngugi wa Thiong'o.
Has been saying this for a long time. Nobody's listening to him.
The mind, yes.
But how can the dead hear anything? If you are dead, you can't hear anything, can you? If you're asleep and you are dead, you can't hear anything. So the leaders, because they are dead, even though they are alive, they are dead. They can't hear what Professor Ngugi wa Thiong'o has been saying for years. Brother Chiro, chip in.
Yes. So the issue of African learning in their own languages, I think it's not even something that we should say we just give it. Necessary will not be a befitting word. I think it's a right. It's a right. It's a right. Every African child has a right to study, to learn in their own African language. There's a quote by Nelson Mandela that he says, if you want someone, if I'm getting the quote wrong, maybe people can correct me. But if you talk to someone in a language that they understand, it goes to their mind. But if you talk to them in their native language, it goes to their heart. So I think one of the things that I think maybe has also been blocking, has also been acting as a barrier to information, to accessing information, is the issue of language barrier. And I think these Africans need to study. Books need to be written in local languages. The professor you have mentioned, Professor Ngugi wa Thiong'o, is in fact writing in Kikuyu now. He's writing in Kikuyu. He stopped writing in Swahili, changed his name from, I think he was called James or so. Yeah, he changed his name to a Kikuyu and is writing in Kikuyu. So the issue, as I said, you see, writing is a business. And if you don't have readers, what has been the challenge that African writers, there are many African writers that can write in the local African languages, but they're looking at this thing in the business angle. If you look at it, in the business angle, you might not be interested to write. But we have writers. And speaking of the mathematics, I saw a book. There's a book called Fiziki. There's a guy, a young man in Nigeria wrote a book, Fiziki. If most of you have come across, you can search it online, Fiziki. He wrote the book in Yoruba. Yeah. So Africans, we need to write. In fact, it will be one of the things that we will be using to preserve African languages, since most of them, African languages are we are abandoning African language. You can say they're going extinct or some sort, but we are English is trying to replace African languages. It's trying, is undermining African languages. So we must take it as an initiative. Like I've said, even the community library that I'm trying to launch before, if those who have heard me, one of the things that we're focusing is African content, local books, even African language books written in African languages. That's what we are giving a priority. We accept other books, but we're giving a priority since they are not easily accessible. And I think if the first person that will take that leap, maybe he will act as will inspire others to take the lead into that field. So I think it will be something that will inspire the other writers to walk that path. But the issue of languages and Africa, the issue of languages and knowledge, I think it's a right of every African child to get knowledge, to access knowledge in the language that they understand best. And that is the reason why I've also written a book in Kiswahili. I looked it, sorry, forgive me, I've been speaking about myself. I also looked it in the business angle. So I think Kiswahili is growing. Kiswahili has a lot of readers. Kiswahili currently has a population of over 200 million speakers globally, and Kiswahili is also an international language. We have 7th July every year is a Kiswahili Day. Is an international day set aside by the UNESCO through the UN to mark Kiswahili. So I wrote a book in Kiswahili, but I'll try one day, hopefully next year, I'll write a book in my own native language. And I think all of us should also consider that.
Yeah. But Achiro, so in Ghana, where I come from, if you go to school in the regions, the region in which you go to school is a region where you learn the language of that region. So if you went to school, say in Kipando, where I come from, you will learn Ewe in school. If you go to school in Accra, where I went to school, you learn Ga. The problem was that if you went to a private school, what is called preparatory schools, you don't learn local languages at all. Everything is in English. So that was the problem. And so, and remember, in these schools, it is an offense to speak local languages. You'll be punished severely.
Yeah,
if you are speaking what is called vernacular. They call it vernacular. But I think the point I'm making is that, and thank you for picking this up, that there's a fundamental confusion in the mind of the African elite. They are confusing literacy in English with education. In England, where I am, every child here can speak English, with variation, a lot of swearing with some of the children, if they come from the working class where parents swear a lot, F this, F that, they don't have the vocabulary to express themselves. They swear a lot. But barring that, they cannot speak English. It doesn't mean they're educated. If they were, they wouldn't be in school. I wouldn't be there teaching them mathematics. So even though you can speak English, it doesn't mean you're educated. And we are confusing education with literacy in English. And I think
someone said that even a madman in Europe speaks English better than our professors here.
Yeah, because they've been speaking the language since they were small. Now I tell my children that the reason I don't swear, I don't know whether we all understand what swearing means. Swearing is when you use swear words like F. I can't say it. I'm sorry. When you use a word like F.
Nice, you got some manners. It's always good to hear that.
I can't. Yes, it's either. But Sarah, you know why though? You know why?
I'm listening.
Because when we were growing up, Sister Ida, did we hear our parents swear?
Answer that one. No. I don't think in my whole life.
Yeah, our parents don't swear. Our parents don't use the F word. They don't use the S word. They don't. So because we grew up in an environment where our elders and our parents don't use swear words, we didn't learn them. And so when I'm in school and I'm speaking this impeccable English, as you can hear me speak, and I'm not swearing, someone that can say, you don't swear. I said, no, I wasn't brought up like that.
Well done.
But you see, the point I'm making is that we are confusing fundamentally education with literacy. And the professor's name, as she's passed away now, is Professor Sophie Bosode Oluwole. And she wrote this book called The Philosopher Queens. She wrote this book called Orunmila, Socrates and Orunmila. And because in our philosophy class on Thursdays, we will look at her at some point, because the point she makes is that Socrates is not unique. The Yoruba people had a Socrates called Orunmila, both of whom never wrote anything, and so on and so forth. But that's for another day. We are still having a conversation on African unification. Please, let's hear from you. Yeah, please, let's talk. Let's have a conversation. We're Africans. Yes, brother PJ, your hand is up. Please.
Thank you very much for the conversation, Brother Kwame, and the rest who have been contributing to this. My point is still on the magazine. Of course, medium of communication is very important. And with the advent of technology, we are finding ways to communicate, because the communication, as I've said before, talking is the beginning of a solution. The writers are communicating to us using their publications. we are communicating to the continent using these meetings we hold today. There's a meeting that was done by a friend last week on the media blackout. I think that was the title, the media blackout. And we have seen governments fighting journalists in terms of their media recordings or something like that, their rights of journalists. And in fact, there has also been, in the term of the writing, there's a writing of a book called Silent Wars, where media is used as a tool of actually colonization. And this is also what Dr. Kress actually discussed in some of the codes of white supremacy. So they feed us, and it's said in that book, Silent War, they feed Africans the romantic series and episodes so that the young Africans can be looking at romance and series and episode, view the world as being good as it is. Well, what goes on in the continent, like the looting of African resources, the killing of African people, they will never show us. So our young people grow up knowing only what the media shows to them, only what can be shared on TikTok, only what can be shared on the TV they watch, and everything around that world. So it's very hard for them to know the reality of ourselves.
Brother Pigeon, it happens here. we have newspapers whose job it is to do exactly what you are saying. Yeah, they are called the Sun newspaper, the Daily Mail newspaper.
Yeah, so
exactly. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, so you find that the role of now journalists coming in is like the light to the community, to illuminate what is really going on in the community. And I heard what Brother Shiro was saying, that some of these investors and the big businessmen in Africa might not want to invest on our stories and magazines and TVs because to them, they only think of what can sell. The question is, sell to who? They want to mean the Africans not have the power, the purchase power to buy their stories. As you mentioned, Brother Kwame, that you are willing to be a shareholder. So it means Africans are willing to buy their stories. It doesn't mean that if the white stories is what sells in Africa, Netflix and the rest, so you'll invest in Netflix and brainwash the generation because it makes money. So I think there's what also Brother Nkrumah says, the Kwame Nkrumah, education for what? For his education was from emancipation and liberation. Your wealth is for what? Your investment is for what? And what Brother Shiro was saying, Pan-Africanism is in all dimensions. In every education or whatever you do, you're doing it for the purpose of liberating and helping the continent. So the key question I want to put is, are the writers, the reporters, the TV, whatever, and the publishers, are they really willing, or are they woken up to an extent of writing African stories that can show African reality than writing stories that can bring money, so that they want to make money and be rich and whatever and be the best publishers and what? Because you realize that some undercover stories in the continent are only reported by either whites, like the stories of Mau Mau. There's a book by Mau Mau called The British Galad that shows how Mau Mau were actually hanged in a place called Githunguri. There's a book also, it's written by a lady in UK. There's a book also written by Professor Anderson in UK called there's a book that indicates even the number of people who were killed during the Mau Mau War, but written by the white man. Well, our writers want to write, and I go to the streets of Nairobi, I get stories of love and passion, think big, rich daddy, and all those nonsense are put in the streets, and those are the sellers. I asked one of the sellers, why do you sell these books? He told me that's what people want to read. So are we actually seeing, as Brother Shiro was saying, that the youth are waking up? Are our journalists, news reporters, and media stations are also waking up to give what Africa is and share the true Africa? That's my question.
I think I can add something before the chairman comments. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, carry on, brother.
Yes. So personally from my experience, in as much as I always want to do something. You see, activism in Swahili they have a saying. Hakuna mwana harakati tajiri. There's no rich activist. So one of the challenges I think even Brother Pidgin has faced, and most of us since we are in activism. So it's the challenge is getting finance, and speaking for all African authors. You see, you need a lot of investment to do something like to do a whole interview, to do a whole research, like for the Mau Mau. Like personally, from me, if as a person, let's say I want to do a research on Mau Mau, I have to visit those local areas. I have to pay. There's some sources, even you have to pay some sources so that you can give information. There's a lot of things that involve finance. I mean, it's a costly endeavor. Doing research, we all know it's a costly endeavor, and most of the Africans, that's why you'll find television channel like BBC, because they set up aside funds to do this work in Africa. And most of the writers, I think it is what has been blocking African writers from even involving themselves in that cause of work. So let's say finance constraints are what have been preventing African authors writing or telling their story. We are all engaged in something. We want to get to earn a living. We want to earn a living from most of the thing we do. So doing this activism is like you are giving to the community, and most of them have not reached to that extent. Personally, for this magazine, we have even been using our own money in running some of the things like marketing, getting some people to design for us. And sometimes we are busy with the jobs, our daily jobs. Then we have to find someone to edit the magazine. So it's a costly endeavor. And from African authors, most of them can't afford, or mostly if they can afford, but they look at it like it's something that they will drain them rather than them gaining. But they don't understand that activism is like it's like passion, like doing something like the way pastors do. You're doing it for the people. You're doing it for the people. Don't expect to get paid, or don't expect to earn from it. But for them to, like, for the magazine, the advert that we are running is like, when people buy the magazine, is what will help the authors do this thing. I mean, commit themselves 100% for 100% doing this thing. But if they are doing it from their pocket, they can't commit 100% doing the thing. I think there I'm understood. So the issue. I think we can organize. Maybe we can organize and find resources that will help us sustain the movement. Sustaining the movement is very costly, and one of the things that has also been undermining it is the finances.
Yes, and Brother Chiro, the reason the finance is not there is because the neo-colonial system we have at the moment has been sucking out all of Africa's money. The system is not helping us. The illicit flows. I heard that in Ghana only this week, on the 18th of this month, a private jet landed in Ghana, and 5 truckloads of unidentified items were put through the airport special gate and loaded onto this private jet owned by a Nigerian national, and it flew out of the country. Now, one of the comments that were made is that money is leaving Ghana because of the change in the election. As you know, the ruling party has lost, and the winning party, the NDC, is talking about dealing with corruption. So if you have a lot of money that you got corruptly, you want to basically take them out of the country. So the money that could have come to us, Brother Chiro, for our work, is all leaving the continent. There was a private individual was found to be leaving Ghana with a lot of gold to Dubai. Again, we are told that they had a license. So this is a problem. We have the money, but it's been stolen with the support of our leaders. In fact, our leaders are the chief thieves themselves. Yeah, they are the chief thieves. I mean, it's like saying that the fox that you employ to guard the chickens is itself eating the chickens. So that's a problem.
Yeah,
But
and I think
but there certainly is room for given that situation. There certainly is room for raising funds, however limited, to support vital work. I mean, no one is going to pay us to liberate ourselves. Let's be clear on that. The enemy is going to pay you to liberate yourself. If you want to liberate yourself, you have to do it by yourself. He's not interested in funding you to liberate yourself. Yeah. Suicide, I've had your hand up.
I did, yes, because I was wondering what special gate you're talking about. The special gate through the airport, because is this the new airport or the old airport?
Yeah, let me explain. So I haven't been to Ghana for a while myself, but according to the story, there are two gates in Ghana. There's a presidential gate that is only used when the president is traveling. And there's another gate that Kufuor built, and that is called the Jubilee Gate. And that gate is a gate where we receive dignitaries and so on. So when dignitaries come to Ghana, that's a gate they use. And individuals don't use those gates. Those gates are for the president and foreign dignitaries. And this person was not a dignitary, was not a president, was not a dignitary. It's a private citizen. And I don't know if I've answered your question. So,
hey, Brother Kwame, you're really telling us things tonight, because I've never heard of this. I know that there are so many gates. And there only seem to be about two that are used to the public. But special gate, what?
Yeah, every airport has it actually. So when, for example, when the King of England is traveling, he doesn't use the ordinary gate, as you know. They have a special gate for the king to use to board the plane and so on. Yeah, every country has it. Yeah. As to how many they have, that I don't know. But in Ghana, I heard there is at least one for the president and then one for foreign dignitaries. Like if the president of Kenya is visiting Ghana, the gate that he will use either to leave or to enter. And this is different from the diplomatic gate. So when diplomats are leaving, that is also different. That's what I've heard. Anyway, yes, brother, Chiro, you wanted to say something. We've got 9 minutes left. We need to hear from at least one comment from everyone before they go.
Okay.
Yes, brother
Chiro. In just 10 seconds. So what I was just adding to what I have said is that the situation, the economic hardship in managing the movement, I think it's done intentionally to undermine us.
Oh yes.
Yeah, it's done intentionally to undermine us. So it's up to us to think of ways we can. It's up to us to think of ways we can we can get resources and run the movement.
Can I say that one way to solve this problem, not the only way, but to start solving the problem, is to do what Burkina Faso and this are doing. What are they doing? They are prioritizing local interests over foreign interests. What does that mean? It means that a government in office can say that from today, we are freezing all debt repayments to foreign entities. We will finance our local budgets first. And if there's any money left, then we'll pay foreign debts. They can do that. And nobody can kill them. But they won't do it because they are part of the system. You see what I'm saying? There's no reason why the Kenyan government cannot say that. In fact, Brother Pigeon shared something with us where the government itself, I mean, the institution itself, were saying they had borrowed money that they were paying that they hadn't actually borrowed. It was just a scam. So the problem is that our leaders are the chief thieves.
True.
That's a problem. So we need to get rid of all these thieves. And this is where you, the youth, come in, because you need to really, the youth should not replace the thieves. They should really, we need a revival.
We need leaders. We need leaders like we need a change like what is happening in Mali and the other West African countries.
Yeah, and the reason the guys in Mali are selling off because they have the guns. If they didn't have the guns, they would have been killed by now. And but you notice how other armies are asleep. The other ones, I mean, Burkina Faso, Mali, and they're not the only countries with army. What's happening with the other armies? Some of them are asleep, or they don't want to get involved in politics because they've been lied to so much. They don't want to get involved. I mean, Ghana, for instance, they don't want to know because they've been lied and lied to that they don't even want to know. They have no interest in taking up arms because they are just not interested because of all that has happened before. You know. Anyway, it's 6 minutes to 8. Let's hear from others. People have left us gradually. We were about 16 at one point. So let's just go to the list. Brother Sam, talk to us, even if for 1 minute. We had a lot.
Yeah, thanks, Brother Kwame, and members are aware that I've been away for some time, so I missed.
And we missed you so
several
much.
lessons. Yeah, but thanks for the presentation. I think my main concern, or not concern, actual comment, is similar to what Brother Pigeon his input was, but I was coming from another direction, in the sense that I didn't hear what Brother Chiro's main focus of the magazine is based on. But the emphasis that I wanted to make in the comment is that what you said now about critically being inwards looking, sometimes we tend to say, because we want to say we are Pan-Africanists, we want to be also internationalists, we start to neglect the home ground. And for me, this is the home base. This is where the magazine should focus. And I'm saying this deliberately because he said he's from the youth movement. And we have just seen a youth revolution in Kenya. And very soon, if we go according to what Brother Pigeon was saying, that movement will be isolated, that movement deliberately. So, and their exploits, what they have done till now, will be negated and nullified basically, so that the people move out of the revolutionary zeal that they have. And this is the paradoxical situation about our governments and how they rule us. In South Africa, we have major issues that happened that the media has suddenly forgotten about them deliberately because they would cause a revolution if they are pursued. So I was just wondering if Brother Chiro's focus is really on matters like those, that the revolution or the youth revolution should not be isolated and negated. Thank you.
Very, very good one. Brother Chiro, are you trying to move the youth from the revolution?
Can he pardon his question? I didn't get it clear.
Is the magazine trying to shift the youth mind from revolution?
No. I'm trying to add more youth, to bring the other youth to the revolution. That's the goal.
Okay, thank you. Brother Sam,
I think that I was not saying he is. I was saying he should focus inwardly and make sure that he preserves that revolution. So he should be a journalist serving the people and serving the masses, not serving the powers that be. Thank you.
Yes. I think Brother Chiro has heard you. Let's hear from Ndlovu, also from South Africa. Brother, even just for 1 minute, let's hear from you.
Greetings, royalties. Yes, I want to just give thanks to the King for work. I understand the being a journalist and publishing works these days is controlled by who are the funders, and the narrative is controlled by the funders, capital. So to be sovereign and independent and report what you want and the way you want it usually costs you limelight and funding. So we do need to have a solution to support those journalists that will go an extra mile, and put the story that is not polluted. So we appreciate you. And definitely, I think one of the things that elevates any form of media is number of users, subscriptions. So if you have a bigger circulation, you usually can anyway attract bigger funders because they would rather like to use and market through your publications if you reach a bigger circulation. So maybe our job here as Pan-Africanists is to ensure you reach the highest number of users so that the marketers can come and bring the capital, and you can charge a premium for putting their adverts into some of your pages in your magazine. That's one way to really support any African media. So that's it. Siabo.
Thank you. So, and to add to that, there are organizations that are free because they don't accept money from governments, funding from governments, and so on. So they are free to do what they like. Sister Shaza, let's hear from you, please, before we bring the meeting to a close. So it's a pleasure to hear your voice on these matters. Sister Shaza? Sister Shaza is not responding, so let's hear from Sister Valerie. I believe it's Valerie. It says Val's iPhone. I'm sure it's Valerie. Valerie?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
You are Sister Valerie, is that correct? The Sister Valerie we know, is that correct?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
my name is Dr. Valerie O'Neill.
Yes, thank you. Yes, please, let's hear your views on some of these things we've heard today.
So thank you for having me in the midst of the conversation.
Oh, we should be thanking you for coming to us in our meeting.
Well, I think it's important that we learn from each other. And with listening to all the presenters, I think that the presentations were very good ones. And I really like the fact that the stress is on education and really finding a good base or a good platform for Africa to really, for lack of a better word, hone into what makes Africans great. And if we lose sight of our land, language, and culture, who are we? So I really appreciate the fact that we are working hard at whether it is teaching the culture, teaching the original languages, and all that good stuff. We have this misconception that everything that comes from the West is the standard that we're supposed to live by. And that's so wrong. And so it makes our people feel that everything we're doing is inferior. And that puts the wrong mindset in who we are, and it puts the wrong mindset in the generations. And for us to really to put energy into that and really start teaching the babies who we are. English is a language belong to somebody else. And we get into appreciating so much what the other people are doing and not who we are and what we're doing. And so eventually the next couple of generations, some of the languages would actually be extinct. And it'll be like, oh, we used to. Then why didn't we focus on who we are as a people? And so us having self-pride feeds into, us rebuilding and us really coming together as a people. Me coming from Trinidad, we had no misconception of who we are. We're African descendants. There's no, we might be or we should be, it is who we are. And so Africa is home. And so our whole focus is people in the Caribbean. If you think of the Jamaican spirit, they're all about Africa. Trinidadians, we're all about Africa. And that's because we grew up with Black rulership and that warrior spirit. And, looking into Africa is like, what can we do to collaborate and make all of this better? Because it is home. It is home to us. And so one of the things, like conversations I have with Africans that's so desperately trying to come to America. What happened to home? America is not what it's what you think it is, actually. And for me, being in Africa and appreciating Africa for the past 20 years, 25 years, actually, my children literally grew up in Africa every year. We either there or we lived in Nigeria for 4 years. And so I understand the plight. I understand, the good, the bad, the ugly. Everywhere has the same differences, a different way. So, like I said, I appreciate the fact that the focus is really rebuilding Africa and communicating and collaborating with the diasporans. And I truly believe when we move in that one head, we are unstoppable. And so the forces, the powers that we know, never ever get Africans, all of Africa, diasporans, everyone, to unite. Never ever. And that has always been the mission. Our mission needs to be, at all costs, we need to unite. When we unite, we are a force that's unstoppable. We just don't know it. And so I'm here. I'm here for whatever you need. I'm a little distracted here, there, and sometimes. But I believe in the mission, and you're doing a good work. Good job.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Do we have your contact? If not, Brother Pigeon will get your contact. If you can put it in the chat. If not, contact Brother Pigeon.
I will. Or Nkosi Mfonel, he has my information. But you can definitely get my contact.
Yeah. So Brother Pigeon is Consensus Study Group host. He's the one there. So Brother Pigeon, please get in contact with Sister Valerie. General, can we hear from you? So General Brother Raspala, the time is 6 minutes past 8, so we are actually we're overrunning, but let's just tie up let's get out of here by 10 past. Brother Raspala gave us a wonderful presentation on who we are, right from the origin of the race. So that was last week, Saturday. He will be doing some more presentations for us on who we are, starting with the Anunnakis and so on. So Brother Raspala, you want to say a few things on what you've heard? Thank you.
Yes, give thanks, my elder. Give thanks. Give thanks even to the family. Yes, even now I came a bit late. Hey, it's planting season, and now so I'm in the mountains. Yeah. Okay, so what I can say from what I see is that all these businesses and all these endeavors we have as activists of Africa, Pan-Africanism, one common thing that I see is that we lack security. That's the only thing I see. So what I would say is that we need to start opening security companies. We need to start training our young boys. We need to start opening or instituting our own African army so that we can protect our assets, because as we say, the chief thieves and their dissidents who stays in these cities, they rob the black people, they rob our businesses. Therefore, our businesses cannot grow. If our businesses cannot grow, we cannot protect our own, cannot protect our children, cannot protect our women, cannot protect our businesses. No matter what we think about, it will not work. People can just come and point us with guns and then they take everything. So that's what I see from Africanism. Whatever anyone can think about, I always see that, okay, this issue of security is a big issue. So that's what I'll say today. Thank you.
Security, yeah. No, thank you for that. Hopefully you'll do a presentation for us on security, brother. So I think we've heard from everyone except yes, brother, you were going to say, brother Russ, something on security, yeah, very soon. Yeah.
Yes, Father. Yes, Father.
Thank you. We've heard from everyone except Sister Shaza. I don't know if Sister Shaza can say something before we close. It's 8 minutes past. We want to finish by 10 past. Sister Shaz, are you able to say anything? A few words?
Greetings, greetings.
Greetings, sister. It's always good to hear your voice.
Thank you. Sorry, what was the question?
Oh, any comment from you on anything you've heard? You know, the topic is the same, unification of Africa. That remains our Saturday topic.
Yes, I'm always down for the unification of Africa, and you know, Africa to the future, and that's my motto. So yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, thank you for the. I can't remember his name. Thank him for the presentation, and I hope.
Brother Chiro.
Yeah,
Brother Chiro is his name. Yeah, he's based in Kenya. One of our young soldiers.
Right. Okay. Yeah, it was quite uplifting what he said. You know that a lot of Africans on the ground are waking up, and that's just pleasing to hear.
Yeah.
So I hope it continues.
Yeah. So, I agree with you. It's uplifting to hear this, because you know, when we started this CSG, it was in South London, and we used to meet in a room given to us by the West Indian Ex-Servicemen and Women Association in Clapham South, and they gave us a room where we could meet, and we met in person until COVID came, and then Brother Michael, who is not here, then suggested we move online. And since we moved online, the beauty is that now we have more Africans in the meetings than those in England. So it's very nice. So it's very uplifting to hear direct from the continent, from brothers like Chiro, telling us what is happening on the ground. Yeah, I agree with you. Thank you so much. So, brothers and sisters, that's the end of today. Announcements for Brother Pigeon, and then we can disperse. Brother Pigeon, any announcements?
Yeah, first, permit me to thank Brother Chiro for his time and whatever he has done to us today by sharing what he does. I want to appreciate his efforts and actually urge him to continue doing the same. And actually, just to end with what Boniface Mwangi said, which is also one of the activists, and I'll try my best if possible. Next weekend, I'll get one of my friends who is an activist in the street as well. He has said, in a better world, citizens should treat activists like their religious leaders by supporting them to cover for their living expenses so that they can focus on the important work they do. Those who live and bleed for Kenya, in this case for the Pan-African struggle, deserve your support and your love. Remember that all the leaders who are stealing from you still get paid from your taxes. His message to Christmas season, he says, to this Christmas, give your tithe and offering to your local community-based organization or grassroots activists you admire. Commit to send them support that whatever they need so that they can continue doing the work. Become their donor. As Thomas Sankara said, he who feeds you controls you. So thank you very much, comrades, and let's continue the same work. Let's support each other, because we have a bigger goal. And the little part or the bigger part we can play, let's play it. For we do it for Mother Africa, and we do it for the betterment of our Africa, because this is home. Nowhere else is home for us, and we must make the home a better place for all of us. So this actually coming Tuesday will still continue. No, Tuesday we're having a break for Swahili class, because we do have Swahili every Tuesday. Thursday we'll continue the philosophy, of course. Nkrumah philosophy has to continue on Thursday as well. On Saturday, I look forward to see if I get one of my foot soldier who is a comrade also who has been an activist in the streets, almost arrested 50 times in this year alone, fighting for the Pan-African struggle. We want to bring the real struggle on the ground to connect with various Pan-Africans. So that's the lineup for this. I'll share the recordings of this week by probably next week. As Brother Connor said, we have 189 recordings in our YouTube channel. For any session that you had missed or any session you want to refer to, you'll always have that reference that is now available on our YouTube channel. Without much ado, brothers and sisters, permit me to say thank you very much, and may you have a lovely evening and holidays, and Kwanzaa holiday, of course, to all of us. Thank you very much, and that's it. Brother Kwame.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Pigeon, don't forget to get Sister Valerie's details, yeah?
He sent his.
Yeah, I've shared my details. Hope she can get in touch, but I can also get in touch with her through other means as well.
All right. Excellent. All right.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Good night. Good night. Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Good night. Good night.
Good night.